So as we patiently await the introduction of components into Bricks, I thought I'd revisit Gutenbricks, which gives a very similar functionality in the sense that I can create my layouts in Bricks and have them as Gutenberg blocks that my clients can use. And so the way that I wanted to show that off was showing a couple features from Gutenbricks that were recently released, namely the inner blocks. You can see here I have like nested blocks within a custom block, so it really gives you a nice amount of control and also like putting guardrails on your custom design so that your clients can build things without messing things up and dealing with styling. And so what that looks like is I got a couple cards here, and I've got basically the same card, but just a variation of it, where we've got, instead of a background image, we have just the regular image with some padding and a background color and some buttons. And we have even another style down here with an icon card and, background color. And we can come in here and like change the color and stuff like that. And these are all the same card. You can see here they're all the same element, and what we're doing is just using variations, and we're using like conditional display to hide things and show things depending on what the client selects. So what that looks like is I can also like come in here to add another card, right? And we're using ACSS here to speed things up in a couple frames. And what's going on in the grid here is we're using variable grid. So this is becoming responsive depending on how many cards, right? So there's 2 cards, right? And I can duplicate this and duplicate that and get another card. And if I keep duplicating, it'll go down into a grid, right? So that's what we're doing. So we'll cover a couple of different things, but I wanted to just show quickly what that looked like. Again, the ability to change these. I've got some toggles here for like, instead of the icon, let's hide the icon and let's show an image, right? Or I can say I want to show a button. Okay, so I can also like delete these and kind of show what that looks like, I guess, a little better. Right, so I can delete those and I can start duplicating that. So then we have that kind of card layout ready to go. You can start adding your pictures to it. You can type into it, right? So all the things that you're used to with sort of Gutenberg styling with the benefits of like building within a system like Bricks. So let's check out how to do this and we'll get started. All right, so I've got a test site here and I'm going to just create a new template. And let's start with making the actual feature grid itself. So I'll just call this like features, and I'll save the template as a Gutenberg block or Gutenbricks block. But it's going to create a custom Gutenberg block for us using what's going on in the Bricks Builder and bringing that into Gutenberg. So just to speed this up, I'm going to use some templates from Frames. I will get a feature grid of some sort. And let's see, it's thinking. All right, so let's find a feature here, some kind of grid. Just one of the basic ones. Let's see. Maybe something like, yeah, feature section alpha. This will work. Let's insert that. And what we're going to be doing is actually deleting these cards because we're going to build the cards in a separate template. I mean, you could do this many different ways, but this is just how I've been doing it. So I'm going to delete that, and I'm actually going to delete, I don't think I need the grid either. What we want is really just the intro, and then this container will house the inner block. And so this latest version of Gutenbricks, I don't know, 1.0 or something like that, adds the Gutenbricks inner block. And so that lets us put other Gutenbricks blocks within that. And so on this one, we're going to add the grid variable class on there. And then on the CSS, I'll do something like we'll change the min. And you should check out Kevin's video on variable grid. I'm not going to go into it in depth, but I could do something like 250, 280 pixels and save that. And that should be probably all we need for this. Let me make sure actually our semantic HTML is correct. Instead of a div, let's do unordered list and just put like a list nut on there. Okay, so at least we have that. And then within this Gutenbricks block, I can also change some settings down here. There's some inner block settings, right? So I can say we don't want to allow any other core blocks. Let's just disable all non-Gutenbricks ones, and then we'll put our card in there in a second. So let's just go back to Bricks templates, and we will add our card as well. So let's just add a simple card. And again, we're going to save this as a Gutenbricks block. And let's just throw in another simple card. And then we can get all this connected together. So it'll start to make sense in a second. So let's just go for our basic card alpha right here, feature card alpha. Let's insert that. And we'll leave everything as is for a second. Let's just, let's go make a page, I guess, right? So let's go to our pages. And that one's Gutenbricks. Let's make a new one called Gutenbricks. Okay. And now what we'll have is the ability to add a block in here, right? So we can browse these blocks and I can see I have a feature, right? And there's our feature. So now I'm able to edit this, right? Like this is my heading. You have full control over all these little bits within that Bricks template, right? So now I can start adding my blocks. And because we've restricted it, I only have Gutenbricks blocks available to put in here, right? So there's my first block, there's my second block, and I should be able to duplicate this, and it's going to be basically an auto-responsive variable grid, right? So it's going to have the ability to add cards within it, right? So I can, be on the card here, and I can click plus, and we can add that, right? So just like that, we're able to edit the layout basically without having to change any styling itself. It's just auto adding the cards, and it's dealing with the responsive styling, right? So if I go look at this on the front end and inspect it, it should be automatically responsive. Yeah, so that's perfect. So it's 4-column grid, and then it starts shrinking, 2-column grid, and then then it's 1 column on mobile. So perfect. That is exactly what we want. So now let's work on giving this some character, some style, some life, some pizzazz. Let's do that now. So one of the things you can do in the new Gutenbricks version is add variations of your cards. And so right now I just have this one type of card, but let's add another one really quick and I'll show you what I mean. So if I just come into cards again, I can search through all the various frames cards. And let's grab like this one here with an image. We'll insert this one. And now we have both of those in here. And it's going to look a little weird because, right, we're only pulling in the card. That's why it's 100%. But, when they're put into the parent block, then they get some of their styling back. And it's easier to see. But on this one, so basically I can come to my primary card here, and I can scroll down to the Gutenbricks section here. And I can look at these, and I can say, there's a bunch of different settings in here. I won't go over everything in here, but we can turn this into a variant, and so we could say like, this is card alpha, and then label it card alpha. And we could do the same for the next card. And so this one's Charlie. I didn't do Bravo, but let's do like a variant here. We could do like card Charlie. And I'll save that, and we'll go back to our page so you can see what that does. Let's save this real quick and refresh. And so what that gives you is the ability to easily cycle through your variants. And so I will go ahead and I guess duplicate this section, and then we'll delete some of these cards here. And then on this one, let's change this to Charlie. All right, so there's our card. It looks a little big, right? Let's start duplicating it. And there's our variation. So it's the same block, so to speak. It's just a card block, but we have variations in here. And you can change the layout. You can add an image in here so people know what it looks like, right? You can add a thumbnail. So you have a lot of different options to kind of give your users the ability to change variations and whatnot, right? So that's variations. I'm actually going to delete. Let's just use one card. So what I'm going to do is actually grab this media here, and I'm going to put it into my primary card here. So let's just paste that in there, and I'm just going to delete the other card and delete the variation, so we're not confusing ourselves. You know, we can play around with that in another video. But what I want to do now is give this some other variations that we can do to show and hide various elements depending on what we want to do. Okay, so I'm going to also add, let's just add another button in here, and we'll just give this a primary style. And so what we can do is add visibility toggles on here. So like, for instance, the icon here, I can come down to, here's one of the options for a visibility toggle. So I could say, let's show it by default. I could name this, right, like show icon, and we'll have that enabled by default. There's other settings in here. I won't cover all that. And then let's do the same for the others, right? So let's, for the media, for the sort of the big image in the card, we can enable show hide, and this will be like show image, and we'll hide it by default. And then same for the button, where we can enable the visibility. We'll do show button, and that should be good. And then we go back to our cards, and let's refresh. So there we've added our button in there, right? And we have toggles here now where we can hide that, right? So that's getting hidden. So we have some abilities to show and hide things now. So we're just using a single card, but we're giving the user the ability to change the things that they want to change. So we can, let's say, hide the icon and show an image instead, right? And then I'll just, you know, delete the ones that we don't want here and duplicate that one, right? So there we have our variation. Without using variations, we've just used toggles to show and hide various elements. All right, so we can, you know, click on here and add our images, and it's going to look good. All right, so let's save that. Now let's take it a step further. Let's go back to our card template, and I'm going to add just a regular image, and let's try and add a background image. All right, so how do I want to do this? I guess probably I'm just going to style at the ID level because we're just making a card component. You have to make that decision if you're going to reuse this. Let's just do position absolute, -1z index, and let's just define the image here as well. We'll just put a placeholder in there. And then let's also just put like a background gradient on it as well, just so we can read the text. So I'll just make this into like a white gradient, something like that. Okay, and let's refresh. That's going to load. And we can see we have the image back there, but we can't really do anything with it. You know, how do we get to that image? Well, we can go back to our templates here for our card, and on this image here, we have Gutenbricks on the actual background image there. And let's do enable editor editing. And so when enabled, its editing field will be shown in the right panel. So that will actually give us an area on the side here to actually look at and change the background image. And then let's also, I'm going to put a little more styling on here. I think 100%, 100%. And then on our card, let's just make sure that this is relative, perfect, and that we have, I guess, like overflow hidden on. And so let's refresh that. Okay, so there's our background image. Let's also let's just remove the image here, and let's remove the button. And then let's also do the same here. All right, so we can actually see the image. And now we have this other little box down here where we can change the image, right? So I can change the background image. All right, so there we have some ability to change out the background image. And there's other ways to do this in Gutenbricks, but this is just, I think it makes sense to showcase this feature. So again, there we have our background image. We have various visibility toggles. If you want to show the button, you can. If you want to show the icon, you can. You probably don't really want to show the image like that. You could probably change this with, conditional displays and whatnot, but kind of outside the context of this video. But that is basically what I wanted to show. And then let's, if you want to stick around, I'll keep going and do a couple more things. Let's add like a variation on the background so that we can change the background color that matches our ACSS colors. So what I can do is, how do I want to do this? I guess what you can do is up in the settings here, and this is like a Gutenbricks thing. Again, you can go to template settings, and you have these two other fields on any Gutenbricks template. And so I can set various block stylings in here, right? And, I could say like the inner block is a feature, right? So we can only put this block within that block. You can create branding for it. You can enable inline editing. You can create variations here as well. Let's just look at the Gutenbricks Meta here. And this meta field here will allow us to add various fields to the block editor, which is pretty cool. So I will hit add block meta field here, and let's just call this I don't know what we're going to call this. Okay, so there's a meta group title. I don't know if I need to do this. Background colors. And I don't know, branding colors or something like that. Branding colors. I'm not sure exactly what I want, but let's just add like, you can add select and radio fields. You can add true falses here. You can add colors and color swatch. Let's add a color swatch, I think. And this will allow us to define our variable. So I could like put in primary ultralight and define that with, primary light. And let me just delete this real quick so you can see the syntax. So it's like value colon label. So the actual variable I'm going to put in here. You can put hex values too, obviously. And then we just have to define the label as well. So it'll be like that. And I'm going to just copy and paste this from my demo so I can speed this up. But I have just a couple other variables. There's my primary, secondary, tertiary, accent. And then we're just going to define transparency as well so that we have that option. Let's go ahead and save that. And if I come back to my blocks and refresh, I should have. Now, I think it'll show up here, right? So I could hit transparent, but it's not going to do anything. And what we need to do is define the background on the card template, right? So I need to go here to my card, and on my background, I think I need to refresh first because we've created now a new like Gutenbricks meta variable that I can now use within the builder. So I can go to my background color, and I can go to raw, and I can search for dynamic data, and I can search for color branding. So there's my like Gutenbricks Meta branding value, and that's going to add the branding color value in the background color. And so if you watch my other video on Gutenbricks a couple months ago, that's kind of what I did with ACF and Meta Box, where you can define a single, basically a dynamic variable where it's, you know, branding color, and then we're going to give the option to be able to change that. So we'll see what that looks like here. So let's open our cards again, and I'll click on this card, and now I have background colors. And so I can change this to, now it's a solid color, right? So now we're able to change the colors depending on our brand schema, and you can, you know, add utility classes in here. I think that's what I did in my last video. Or you can, you know, on here I've added actual variables, right? So let's just like delete a couple of these, and I will duplicate and duplicate, and now you can see I can also just like change that color globally in ACSS, right? Where on my primary, let's say my primary turns to a red. Now we're going to have the primary light, well, primary ultralight variable there. So that's very easy to stay within the branding to give your clients access to only certain things, right? You know, you're defining what color schemes they have here. And then you can define the various visibility toggles, right? If we want to do that. And so that we have a bunch of options really just in, I don't know, what's this video, like under 20 minutes, a little over 20 minutes. So, I mean, within that time, we've gotten block variations, we've gotten dynamic values for the like background color. We've gotten visibility toggles for various elements within the blocks. So we have the ability to give our clients the chance to like kind of style within a defined scope. So that's the idea behind this. We've got variable grid, so it's automatically responsive. Yeah, I think that probably wraps it up. I probably went on a little bit longer than I should have, but yeah, let me know what you think. Are you using Gutenbricks? You know, this is obviously a pretty simple example. You can extend this, you can modify it, you can use conditions, make it more complex and have crazier designs and all that. But hopefully this gives you an idea of how to use Gutenbricks, how to think about components, how to think about what we're giving our actual clients in terms of wanting the ability to actually be able to change things, to have some control within a defined scope. And so that's what we have here. We have a, you know, pretty easy foolproof point and click. You can add another card here. It's going to be, you know, you can change the default styling here. So it, you know, it doesn't have maybe everything in here toggled, but you can modify this however you'd like. So anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. Love to hear your thoughts. Thanks. Bye.